Amina Yunus Ali, a family therapist. She'll be talking about parenting imperfect children. We have to look for who are imperfect children, or are children really imperfect, or we're just the ones that are not patient enough to understand, you know, the stages of growing up of children. She joins us in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's such a pleasure. You already have your first question. Who's an imperfect child?
We all are. She answered it. We all are.
I'm perfect.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Says who? Your mom, your dad?
I say so myself.
Yeah, we all are. I mean, we celebrate perfectly imperfect in all of us. Even as adults, it's something that we constantly position ourselves as. We understand our flaws, and we put it all out there on our statuses, on our stories, social media, and say, oh, you know what, nothing is perfect and everything. Yeah. But when it comes to children, it's almost as though that's a slap to our parenting techniques. I mean, how dare you? Why can't you just be what I expect you to be? It's like you both mentioned in the introduction, we have this dream of having children, and that comes with ideas, fantasies of who these children are going to be. You know, we'll say sit down, and they will sit down. They'll look at us with, you know, oh dear God, you are my demigod kind of reverence.
Puppy eyes.
Yeah.
And all those.
But the first time you ask them to do something and they look at you and say no, or they slam the door in your face because they are mad, and they walk away while you're talking, and you're like, how dare you?
Oh, that child did not do it a second time. No.
Right?
Some children, just a quick digression. Well, some child came to our house once, and the child was beginning to, and my kids were like, my daddy and me. They wouldn't touch the guy. Right? It's like Larry J said at the last DSS, said that the only person who could have done what he did was Jesus Christ. When he said, his mommy said, whatever he tells you to do, go and do it. You know, Jesus said that my time has not come. I cannot make what he said. I cannot turn water into wine. Mommy just turned to the church. Whatever he tells you to do, just do it. Like he's saying to Jesus, oh, be that. So, you know, yeah, I mean,
So that happens, and then we begin to look at, like, the fantasies are out of the window, the hopes and the dreams are no longer matching, and we are now confronted with realizing that they're not perfect.
Right, but you know, there's this thing it's a recurring thing that happens within families and societies. For instance, when you're correcting that seemingly imperfect child, to say, why do you do this? I told you, I speak to you 100 times, but you don't listen. Why do I have to repeat myself? Blah, blah, this, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, the grandparents come along and said, oh, that's how I repeated to you 100 times when you were growing up.
Oh, my mom says that a lot.
So, what's different?
Well, I'm lucky.
So, for instance, if you're expecting perfection, you are also as imperfect.
Imperfect as the child.
And, you know, there was a time, you know, when when we speak about these things, we're parents, and, you know, sometimes we draw from life experiences, and, you know, we talk about it. I think when my daughter was in reception or so, before I could get her into uniforms to go to school, it was like she was just 2. And, you know, it was frustrating, you know, to get her. I wanted to come to work. She needed to go to school. And she just didn't want to go. And she would cry and cry and cry. And so I would call up one of my friends and say, look, I'm frustrated. This child she doesn't want to, once I wear one arm, she'll remove it before I wear the other arm and all that. And she told me something. She said, it's a phase. She will grow out of that phase. after a while, that you will see that she will soon be wearing the clothes by herself. And she'll be saying, Mommy, I'm late for school, can we go? You know, it's a phase, and you just, so when that time, I think, what kind of child is this? But yeah, it's a different story now. So I don't know, is it a function of parents not being patient enough for these phases, or we just expect perfection all the time where we shouldn't?
I think what collides in our mind is the picture that we have and the reality that we are met with. Your example, for instance, maybe at 2 she wasn't ready to be any other thing than just a child who wanted to stay at home and play and have free time. So your case is like different to mine. I wanted to allow my daughter to stay at home and just play, but she was so, I want to go to school. I'm seeing people going to school. When can I start school? So at 3, I wanted to wait till like 5, because really, I wanted to follow the developmental statistics that was out there. Like, you know, she said, no, I'm ready to go to school. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So in my head, I already had this plan that we're going to homeschool ourselves till she was 5, do the proper British process of waiting till she can protect herself, talk about herself, you know the do's and don'ts of body boundaries and all that before she's in a large space. But here she was, 3 years old, absolutely ready to conquer the world. So how dare I say no, right? But oftentimes what collides in parenthood is the fact that we had a plan. The plan is just not working with the reality that we are met with, which is the child. Who is the child? And we are asking, should we be patient, or can we smuggle our techniques or wrongful our techniques just to make it work? And therein lies the imperfection. Truly, every one of these children would come with their own. We said parenting doesn't come with a manual, but the children, they have their own manual of being. They have their personality. Yes, we would shape those personalities, mold them as best as we can to reflect the hopes and the dreams that we have. But at the end of the day, who they are on the inside will still shine through, whether we like it or not. Now, the question is, are we contented with that blueprint? Or do we want to force it?
Okay, let me ask a 2-in-1 question. The topic is parenting imperfect children.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about 2 individuals here. The parent.
And then the child.
And the child. The parent has a life different from being a parent. And sometimes the pressure of being that child, of being that parent, is significant on its own. Then there is the responsibility, the role, the pressure of the child. The child also has other influences. The parents are influenced by all shades of impressions. The children themselves are also influenced at school, at home, and all those things. I was just reading, just seeing a headline, one of the groups that I belong to, that a family's inaction led to the death of a woman sexually abused by uncle. Now, that's another issue altogether, but these are, the things that the children themselves have to contend with from time to time. So, how does the parent ensure the child is protected enough, even in the child's imperfection, when the parent himself or herself is quite significantly distracted, if I can use the term?
The relationship between the parent and the child doesn't just end with expecting the child to be or to be protected or to be safeguarded always. It is also for you to confront your own inner demons. Because a lot of the times, the thing that we want to protect the child from is actually us. Our own expectations, our own fears, our own projections of, it's a story that you've just read, and you're wondering if every uncle that comes into that child's life is going to be like that uncle that you've just read about, or if every vice or noise that is out there is constantly going to affect your child. instead of looking at, okay, who exactly is my child? When we think about giving that imperfect child an opportunity to still be foremost a child, then we can begin to recognize that, yeah, they'll make mistakes, they will fail. Not all children are going to be born bright and A students, and it's going to have to be okay, because they're going to also look at what are the other strengths that this child has.
Yes.
What are the other skills that you can actually help them build as a result of who they are. Who exactly are they? What is their own divine strength?
Yeah.
You know, some children are born quiet and observant, and, you know, at the end of the day, they'll tell you every single thing that happened in school.
Yes.
But in class, they don't talk, they don't participate. And
Yeah.
but then they still make it through school, right?
Yes.
And there are some children whose strength is in the sports and all that, and you're killing yourself that they have to be academically excellent. But they will just make do with a C, and they will still make it. And those are the skills that they have.
Yes.
So the imperfection is noticing really what is your own fear. Why? What are you bringing to the table as the parent? We ask couples, what is the other person, what is your partner bringing to the table? But do we ask ourselves as parents, what do we need to let go of? Sometimes, how we have been parented, in fact, not sometimes, a lot of the times, how we have been parented would influence how we parent our children. And that itself may do more harm than good. Yeah. If you haven't resolved all the pains or the abuses that you normalized as growing up, all the stopgates that was put in front of you that you accepted as, well, that's just the way it is. Because right now, a lot of the parents that I work with, who maybe they get a call from school and they're saying, oh, your child did this and that, and they're already imagining the worst case scenario instead of really looking at what is right now happening with those children. I've already put themselves under that pressure, that expectation of what would the world see? How come it is my own child that is doing this? Because we have an image to protect, we have a reputation to protect. And if you don't allow yourself to move beyond that, to really see the child before you, the imperfection will continue to grow. I see it like imagining a child who is growing and they're constantly just meeting walls instead of opening doors. At some point in time, they give up.
The children.
The children, they give up. And that's where you begin to see them get into depression, anxiety. We have higher suicide rates among adolescents now than ever before. And it is scary on a daily basis to be barraged with that. And you ask them, what gets you into this? And it's like, what's the point of life? You know, so it's the constant need to meet a defined image in our own heads that is not the reality of who they are, that actually causes that strain in the parent-child relationship. So we are really looking at parenting an imperfect child. It is that imperfection is your own lens. If I were to remove my glasses and you see my eyes properly, it would be a different, I'm not seeing you clearly now anyways, right? But it is a different lens. And we as parents need to get into that space of really sitting back down and saying, who is my child? Maybe. What is the skill that I need to learn to parent this child? Not the child I have in my head, not the, oh, so lovely, 10 fingers, 10 toes, perfect, you know, she's going to be a ballerina, she's going to be a football star. No, it's about who is David, who is Angela, who is Amina.
Who is the child? Who is the child? Not who do I want the child to be. Well, it reminds me of that ancient dictum in one of the holy writs. It says, train up the child in the way the child should go, not in the way you want the child to go. And that I find that instructive. But there is something important that you said, you know, knowing the child. How difficult is it for parents? Why are you smiling? How difficult is it for parents to come to the point of wanting to know their child? Because Or is it just an African thing for people to say, do what I say? You know?
No, it's not an African thing at all. I worked with a number of people of different descents that I know. I have to get to that space and know that, no, it's not an African thing to say, oh, this is what I want, and, you know, you're in my house, so this is what you should do, right? But it is also...
Is that out of place indeed?
No, well, it depends on what you want to achieve.
You are in my house, my rules. And more than one person has said that. I heard Bishop Oyedepo say the same thing. I heard Steve Harvey say the same thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, this, of course, you know, two different nationals.
The rules, they are universal rules of raising a well-regulated, individually empowered, and wholesomely and emotionally grounded child. Yeah. There are rules to doing that. So yes, if in that case, yeah, there are rules and regulations that you can lay down. But beyond that is, if the child is 30, there's this beautiful anecdote that one of my own mentors would say, when a child is 30, who do you imagine knocking on your door? Is there a child who's going to come and say, Mommy, I need your help. Daddy, I need you to bail me out? Or is there a child that says, oh, I have this idea, I just want to share it with you? Who do you imagine? Because that's where you really have to begin. What's the vision that you want to have? It's not a fantasy of, oh, your child would always do what you say. And I always tell parents this, remember, you're raising an individual. You're not raising a child forever. Because if you think you're raising a child, the child will be one who is constantly dependent on you. They will never move past that toddler stage where you say no.
Always needing mommy, always
yes,
needing daddy.
Always needing daddy. You're always constantly bailing them out from one trouble or the other. Instead of them, you know, taking up responsibilities and recognizing that when they make a mistake, yes, they live with the consequences, but then there's always an opportunity to do better the next time. And that's where I think, you know, how do you learn to know your child comes in. It's first relaxing and taking a breather and realizing that this child, number one, is a gift.
Yes.
You are just, I mean, everyone is biologically engineered as best as possible. Like 90% of the population are biologically engineered to be a parent. But when it comes to emotionally being a parent, not everyone is capable of being that parent because we're stuck in what we have not even received as a child. So we have a lot of children in grown-up bodies who they themselves are like, nobody listened to me when I was a child. So how dare a child now comes into my presence and not listen to me? Who are you? Because at the time when you were 10 or 15 and you're asking your parents to hear you out, they were also busy telling you, no, this is my house, this is my space.
My rules.
My rules, you have to live by it. So you heard that long enough, you believe that that is the only reality that exists, and you believe that's the only way to raise a child. But here's a child even questioning, what exactly is that rule? Why is it important for me to be back by 6 p.m.? Why mustn't I play football because you say so? Why shouldn't I sing because you say so?
So the question is why?
The question is always why.
And the parents, in most cases,
they don't have the answers.
Are wondering why in the what gave you the audacity
to even ask
that question in the first place?
I couldn't look my father in the face when I was your age. Look at this child.
You know, so it's the question of why, but where the reason I'm asking that question is this. So even in the home, a parent who spends every moment, mothers in particular, spend every moment with this child, still finds out that eventually that child is still imperfect. So it's not because of other influences, it's just...
The child is just different to you. The child, where you would be calm and accepting, the child is intimidating and influencing. Where you would want things to take the natural course, they want to be the one who causes the cost in the first instance. So you're like, why can't you just be? You know, in Yoruba, we so many bad journey abayo. Like, how I wish my child would look like me, and everything will be. It will be easy, but it would not be perfect still. It will be easy to raise a child who looks like you, and oftentimes that's where sibling rivalry comes in. the child who the parents find amenable, who the parent finds like easy to parent, is often the favorite. But the one who is constantly asking that why question is the one that are like, how? Why? Why are you like this? Why can't you just listen? Because it is actually asking you to dig deeper to understanding exactly why you're even a parent. If I cannot be patient enough to understand that this is a human being, not a subhuman being, not a mini you, not a, you know, how parents will say, oh, mini me, you dress them like you. They're like, mini me. Not a mini you, but a wholly formed human being, discovering life, experiencing life on a different lens than you have, with even a diverse exposure than you've ever had yourself, on a larger platform than you can ever imagine. And you have to be patient enough to say, okay, let's discuss this. So I never ask the why question anymore with my own children. Like, no, tell me what's going on in your mind that made you decide that this is the best course. What were you thinking? Because the why question is often like you're asking them to defend what the decisions that they've done. The what is asking them to give you an explanation of how they arrived to where they are. And sometimes that is really where you begin to notice how different they are to you.
What I hear you say, madam, is you are asking parents to listen.
Absolutely.
Pure and simple. Whether it's the why question, or it's the what question, or it's the how question. And just as, you know, Joke said, we're parents, right, sitting here now. And when you start to listen to your child sometimes, even if the child is 17 or 20 plus and all, they use certain words and you are wondering,
Where did they get it from?
where do you get these words
Exactly.
from?
Where did you get that from?
And then they use some expressions that
That you wonder, how did you come up with that? Say,
you don't even know the books they're reading.
Yes.
You know?
And I say, where did you learn that? Nobody, just me.
Yeah.
I thought of it by myself. Oh, wow, okay.
Now, so essentially what you're saying is, it's only when you listen to them, allow yourself to listen. And I use the word cautiously. Allow yourself to listen, because many times we're automatically judgmental and parental, wanting to guide, chop, you know, and all of those things.
They're way up here. So it's very difficult for me to sit down at the same level with my child and say, let's have a discussion about, so why don't you like that person in school? What's going on in your mind? Okay, let's talk about your choice of course. I don't understand why sound engineering is the best thing that you feel like you can do with your life, because I see you have so many more talents, but give me the landscape. Tell me what's going on in your mind. So it's always from the position of, we believe, whether by divine decree or by cultural expectation, that we are responsible for their path, but to allow ourselves to let that ego go, as in just allow the ego to step down enough to say, I really want to learn. And you hear all these vocabularies and all these reasons, and sometimes you are amazed, and really you are awed if you allow yourself to get into that space. But at best, or at the basic, you would find yourself really understanding that where you think 2 + 2 would always add up to 4, they are recognizing that 1 + 3 can always get them the 4. And sometimes there's that 0 and 4 would come together and will still make up the 4. And so I might as well just take the space as fast as possible.
Right. Is it that we expect, you know, too much? And I say that because sometimes we've had it said, I mean, proven medically as such, that our brains, the development, you know, even from a baby to up to 20 what?
25.
25, the brain is still developing.
Yeah.
So what we know, and, you know, the expectations we have, the children's brains have not even developed up to that level. They cannot reason with what you are saying, so they really cannot understand. That's why you repeat what you say all the time. And I think that's where some of these, what we term as imperfection, you know, comes in.
When you have to repeat the same thing
you have
over
to,
and over again.
because sometimes you have to sit back and think, oh, this person is not, and so you probably have to repeat often before they get it. Even if you have to repeat it. So what should teachers do? if they say they have to keep reading, because you have to keep repeating until the child learns. If the child, if there are 15 in the class and one child doesn't get it, it's your duty as a teacher to ensure that that person gets it. And, you know, you live just like when they say Jesus, you know, the sheep, the lost sheep, you know, that you will leave every other person until that one sheep is saved. I think that's just the analogy. And that's one sheep is the one that was imperfect. So I don't know, maybe it's our expectation as communities, as parents and families, is it too much? And we expect too much from young people that they probably are not thinking about, you know, their thought process have not gone that far, and we expect them to.
I think we haven't prepared the ground enough for expectations to even have the proper meaning or to land properly in the minds of these young children. Because if, for instance, your 2-year-old is questioning why they have to go to school, and you're saying this is because you have to go to work, and they're like, I don't send you a message. Now you want to go work. And the 12-year-old is coming to say, I don't like school anymore, I want you to change my school. And you're like, but that's the school that you've always gone to. I mean, where's that coming from? And it's always coming back to what you think and not on the basis of, okay, so what are the options that you think that we have right now? What are the ways that you believe that we can begin to handle this differently? Like involving them. The expectations that we have are not too much. But have we provided a platform for enough connection where they can really understand that they can do this and we can do it together? Because sometimes what we are really saying is, I need you to be something, and they are like still struggling with the concept. We have already contextualized it. We already know, because we are grown, we are in our 40s or our 30s, we have seemingly formed the idea completely, but they are still struggling with the bricks and the process. They're still trying to understand, does this really add up to where I want it to add up? And that's where patience comes in. That's where connection comes in. That's where repetition comes in. Repetition is a lost art, really, because we think when we say something once, especially when they're watching cartoon and they can almost immediately sing the song or the Cocomelon song back to you. They just heard it once and they can sing it right back now. So why do I have to repeat, go and wash please when you come back from school? So almost as though like, this child is testing me, this child doesn't want to. But it is not you they are testing. It is the ability to prioritize. It is the skill to decide what interests me.
So it's the skills they are learning.
It is the skills that they are learning. It is not you that they are rejecting or refusing.
So, is there a patience-ometer?
Like I used to measure.
Please, when you find it, let me know.
Because, you see, just as you said, you talked about them testing, the parents feeling that the children are testing their patience.
Like you tested
Unfortunately, the parent doesn't have that much patience.
They don't have the time to be patient.
Thank you. So you have to do this, you have to do that, your school fees, your I sympathize with parents who have to think about school fees every quarter. Gosh. So is there a patience-ometer for parents to be able to endure some of these things that you're talking about? Because raising an imperfect children, essentially you're saying parents they just have to be patient and take things that they would find. Because, okay, just one instance. You've just talked about washing plates. That's just one instance. Sitting with a child, explain this thing to me, and then they start the rigmarole.
Oh, yeah, but let's see. You don't want that. You don't want
Can you please just go straight to the point? Yeah, you are doing adventure. No, I don't want adventure. I don't want tourism. I want a journey. But they start, so is there a patience-ometer for parents to be able to say, okay, I need to be this patient with this child so that...
I won't say there's a patience-ometer, but there is a personality marker that the parents can study to begin to realize. I mean, so I give you an example. I'm what they call a systematic thought. A systematic thought is a person who, you tell me to be here by 11, I'm probably here by 10:30. You tell me that this is where we are going. I can, use patterns to align and decide that this is what we're going to do to get to where we're going. And it's sorted. Now I'm parenting a child who, her own idea of getting things done is to play through it every single hour. She wakes up in the morning and she wants to tell you how her dream was and how she felt. And I'm looking at the time like, we have to get out of this house. We have to get out of this house, like, right now. And I'm like, okay, you have 5 minutes to tell me your dream. Because if I were to say, don't tell me your dream, what I've done is to kill the very thing that makes her alive. That is the core of her personality. The minute I recognize that, and I'm like, okay, 1 minute I'm just thinking, I'm planning how my day is going to be, but I'm using another ear to listen to how Ariel joined Cocomelon Lullaby, and
the Tom and Jerry came,
and the Tom and Jerry came to plan it, and and we're talking about it, and I'm asking questions that makes her think I'm still interested, but I'm also thinking about my day and how it's going to be.
I hope she's not listening to this interview.
I'm planning my day, and at the end of the day, she feels like, oh, Mommy, did you enjoy that story? Tomorrow I'll dream another dream and I'll come and tell you. And I'm immediately like, oh, God, please, just have a blank dream this time around. So it's not really about having a patience-ometer, so to speak, but it's about knowing that the clashes that you have as parents, whether they are toddlers or teenagers or young adults, it is that they're different from you and they're always going to see things different. Even when you share the same personality, you'll be surprised that the thing that attracts you or makes you familiar with one another, you immediately notice the flaws of that personality faster than anyone.
Okay.
You would know how not to sit down for so long and like, you're beginning to be like me. How old are you? What have you earned? That you not think that you cannot sit down and be watching football. Come on, go to the kitchen or go to the room and go and study or do something.
Well,
faster.
It's anyway, we need to go to... The one thing that I found out from you guys is that there is no school of parenting. There's no... Okay, there's not... You guys
we have a school of parenting.
But unlike in those days where you
can't use your...
You do jelliosimi. That parental jelliosimi. In other words, you just learn on the go. But anyway, thank you for your time this morning. I think I want to believe that the viewer has learned a thing or two about, raising imperfect children. To first of all know that they themselves are imperfect. Yeah. So raising imperfect children is like imperfect raising imperfect. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Amina Yunus Ali is a family therapist. Again, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.